Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Viewers for paying attention to Seat Time this evening. What's going on there, Steven?
You were muted.
I was muted? I was muted. Man, Steven is just pushing all the wrong buttons. We weren't even on time tonight, and we still screw up somehow. We do this for you guys. We make sure that y'all get the most fun show possible. So, welcome to Seat Time, episode 128, this fine Tuesday evening in Texas, Central Time, 8 p.m. We've got Mr. Zack Huberty is going to be on with us this evening. We will then call in Mr. Nick Davis, and Zack Huberty and I will both, I would say the word caress him with questions, but that sounds a little too much like the show that I do on Thursday evenings, so we will just badger him with questions. I think we'll get a lot of good discussions there. So for those of you who maybe do not know what Seat Time is the online show for the off-road enthusiast. If you just happen to be one of those guys that's really into dirt and wheels and getting muddy and goofing off-road, this is definitely the show for you. I would imagine you are, one of those people that might like to consume a few beers. If you're not, that's okay too. This is still the show for you. You'll just enjoy it more if you're drinking because I become much funnier. Hi-oh! And I look better too, which works for all the ladies at the bar. That's how I got my wife. We were doing all kinds of shots. We got married in Vegas and bam, we had a bunch of kids. I mean, that's not really how it happened, but again, if you were drinking, it would be really funny. So there's always that. So, for those of you like, oh man, this Seat Time, this guy's an idiot, let's follow him more. Seattime.co is the website where you can follow us. We do archive all the shows there, put up all of our press releases, any other kind of fun stuff, anything Seat Time related. We are on the facebook.com/SeatTime, or on Twitter, so you can find us there, SeatTime_CO is the username there. Of course, we're on Instagram, the YouTubes, all that fun stuff. If for some reason you think I'm ugly, but what we have to say is interesting, you can follow us on Stitcher or iTunes as a podcast. We do have the audio out there, or if you have any other podcasting fashion, our RSS feed is available for you to add. You just search for Seat Time, 2 words actually, and then if you want to get really specific, you can type in a pint full of awesome, because that's tagged in there as well. It makes it very easy. You can follow us, and voila, you get to listen to me on the way to work, at work, while you're taking a poop, maybe while riding your mountain bike. I don't really know, but you can do it, and we would appreciate it if you do. So what happens on this show? Well, it happens that people help us do this, and those people are Fly Racing, of course, huge supporters. We definitely thank them a lot. Stillwell Performance, so if you feel like your bike needs to be suspended better, they're people that you can check out. And Fast Company, flex bars and torque wrenches for your spokes. They're fantastic products, and you can check out their website to learn more, or wait till later when we will talk about them. Yay! All right, so let's get into some shit. It's episode 128. We've been doing this for a long time. You'd think we would know better and to push the right buttons, but we're figuring it out. So what's going to be fun is we're going to bring Zack Huberty in a second, but again, if you're tuning in because you want to see the debut of the Woody and Steven's Arrive and Ride adventure, that will be a little bit later, right before we start to bring in Mr. Nick Davis. So that's going to be coming, so definitely pay attention. And Zack is just making all kinds of noise over there. Somebody's getting impatient, so let's just bring him on in. Mr. Zack Huberty, how is your evening going?
It's going great. Weather's nice out here finally, and just hanging out and getting all my work done from the weekend.
Oh, I bet. So, you don't sound very energetic. I feel that I am putting out a lot of energy, but you are just kind of sitting there hanging out.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, flew out Monday morning, flew back Sunday night, and didn't get back till midnight, and flying really does take a lot out of you, even if it's only for 2 or 3 hours, and then there's an hour and a half drive to and from the track. But I mean, I'm kind of exhausted. I'm still catching up on sleep.
Yeah, and you live in Eastern time zone, and the race was in Central, right?
Yeah, so
that's not
it was
too
nice.
bad, right?
It was nice when we landed that we were able to kind of get like an hour back in a way, but when we came back, you add that extra hour, and I don't know, you're just tiring, and it's interesting. I'm almost as tired as I was as if I raced.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, this weekend it was all in a state park, and to go to any of the photo spots, some guys had like dirt bikes, but I rode a mountain bike. So it was like a mile from photo section to photo section. So it kind of got a little tiring carrying around a big camera around your neck and trying to get to each test in time to see all the riders.
Yeah, well, you'll learn quickly that in those situations you want a backpack. You do not want to wear the camera around your neck for multiple reasons. One, because it's annoying, and two, because you don't want that precious equipment hanging out there in the open as you pedal around. You will F something up and kick yourself in the junk about it and be really pissed off.
Yeah, and it would have been nice, but then again, carrying that huge backpack around was kind of a pain. I know Shan Moore and Daniel Engel, they both had, I guess they're like little CRF 80s that they're cruising around on, but I didn't have that luxury.
Maybe next year. Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe I'll get like a little CRF 50.
Well, what you can do is you can learn from their mistake, or learn from your mistake this year and from their winnings, and rent yourself one for next year. Like call whoever it is that they borrowed them from, or whoever got them for them, and be like, I want that for next year. Here's $100. Don't give it to Shan.
Yeah, or give them a little more money and get a golf cart or something.
Yeah. Well, come on, man. You are a dirt bike racer. Don't get a golf cart. You got to get a UTV souped up from some badass place like rah. You come all hot.
Get the Arrive and Ride UTV going.
There you go. That would be pretty bitchin'. Hey guys, can you bring those out to the Enduro? Yeah. What for? Oh, I'm using that shit to get to my picture taking spots.
I may not end up at the picture taking spot.
Yeah, yeah, like come through like a raped ape, just charging through the forest. I love it.
Yeah, can you imagine taking that down that waterfall?
Woo! Here's the better question. Can I imagine trying? Yes. Do I imagine doing it successfully? Not so much.
I don't know. I think you'd be surprised with how those things, go off road. Other than maybe it getting a little narrow at spots, but I think it could make it.
All right. Well, I'm down to try it if somebody wants us to. Somebody wants to foot the bill and then loan one. Yeah, I'm down to try. So, obviously, we're already kind of talking about some of the Missouri stuff that's been going on. You were at the National Enduro this weekend. You've been doing a really good job with Innovation Off-Road, getting coverage out from the National Enduros that I don't think we've been seeing typically, a little bit more grittier angle than kind of just a press release and some pictures, which I've been enjoying. I want to say good job. Congratulations. I really enjoy that, so keep it up. What are some of the takeaways for you from this past weekend?
I guess I had a couple of realizations, and one of the things, like, I didn't see Air Group like almost all weekend, which is kind of odd because normally they're in the pits and are kind of around to talk to, but I guess they've been doing a lot of testing. And I think they flew out maybe Thursday or Friday morning. They tested Friday. They tested Saturday, got to the track around like 7 or 8 at night to, finish their prep and decals and that kind of stuff. And then, Nick was ready to go Sunday, and he definitely showed, and same with Ryder, that whatever they're doing, it's working for the team. And I think they had mentioned doing a little jetting, and I noticed Ryder was running, I think, a different silencer this weekend, and Nick was running some different gearing. So, they're definitely becoming one of those teams to look up to, and possibly for some of these other younger riders, like a team that you want to get on and eventually, ride for.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool, and that was definitely something I was going to allude to later is that that could be maybe a possible team that Craig DeLong could wind up on, since he's been doing so well on that Husky. I don't know if there's money in the budget for 2 GNCC and Enduro guys next year. So if there was, it'd be cool to see the DeLong brothers, under that tent. But it seems like since Craig DeLong has been doing such a good job on the Husky this year with GNCCs and in the National Enduros, that someone would want to pick him up and try to get him on a Husky for next year, so he felt, was able to carry through with that momentum and not have to kind of learn a new bike. What do you think?
He's definitely going somewhere, and Craig's still going to school every day, and I think he just got a practice bike from Hall Cycle. I think he said it was like last week, so he's been practicing on a stock bike at home. And then his race bike was with Andrew for the week because Andrew drove down to Missouri to do some testing. But I kind of wonder where he's going to go. And if you look at his results and his brothers, you know he's eventually going to get to where Andrew is, if not further.
If not to
So
surpass him, yeah.
yeah, so if Husky was smart, they would say, hey, Craig, let's put you on an XC2 ride, support thing for next year and have you under, in our sprinter. He's already there anyway, and
Yeah.
he travels. But I don't know what Husky's vision is, and you know, he's also a great GNCC rider, and Air Group really isn't involved in GNCC, so I don't see him ever going under the Air Group tent.
Or this could be
But
the perfect opportunity for the Air Group guys to kind of come into a full-time GNCC program. Like if they were to, say there's not budget for Craig with Andrew, they're just, and they would want him to do a support thing again next year for XC2. It's like, well, could Air Group offer him something? Because I've been thinking that it seems like there's a lot of speed that's lacking in some of the guys, and I wonder if there is a little bit of basis of the fact that some of these guys aren't racing a lot of big cross-country series like GNCCs or the OMAs, and if they need to start doing those more often so that at the National Enduros they can carry more speed, because Charlie Mullins is just absolutely, dominating.
yeah, he's definitely dominating at this point, but I don't know if you have to race GNCCs in order to be fast in the National Enduros. I'm trying to think of a good example of someone that's come up through just National Enduros and doesn't do GNCCs. If like look at Nick, I don't remember the last time he ever raced a full GNCC
Oh
series.
yeah, no, the only thing I think he's cross country wise professional level would be like an OMA. He's done quite a few,
Yeah,
OMA full series, but I don't think and he's just done some one-handed GNCC events.
yeah. So in order to dominate the national indoors, I don't think you have to, come from that GNCC background or, race it simultaneously. It just so happens that Charlie is so good at both.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes him a threat and then also makes him valuable to the team that's, backing him.
Well, so what are some? It looked like again we kind of see like Nick Farringer getting off to a slow start. He keeps talking about, I've worked on this, I've worked on that to try to get my sprint speed up from the very beginning, moving
Yeah.
forward. What do you then in the case of like if him not going to the GNCCs maybe wouldn't help, maybe it would, whatever. What do you think would be able to help him kind of be able to get that edge to really, surpass Charlie Mullins maybe from the very beginning?
Um, I don't know. I'm at the beginning of the year when we were at Sandlapper, I could definitely see him losing time right off the start, like as far as aggression. But in the last couple races, that's really changed, especially Sunday. He's really kind of increased his level of aggression off the start and just taking off and going as fast as he can. Whereas before, it kind of looked like it took him almost a few seconds to get into that pace, and that's where he's losing time. That first 200 yards.
Right.
Um, but this weekend, just the bike and how he looked. It looked excellent to me. It just, I think for him, it's kind of really getting used to that linkage still. I think he's finally gotten over that hurdle since he was so used to PDS, and um, he still has things to work on. But I'm not one to say where he can make it up here or there.
Yeah. I wonder, we were talking with Cody Webb last week, and there was definite a time in Endurocross where you could tell he just didn't, he was losing an edge to guys and couldn't figure out where it was. And so he started going and doing more moto practice. And he specifically said that out there, when he was kind of going to some of those kind of amateur races and going out to the track, that he was picking up his aggression and learning how to ride a lot more aggressively and was able to bring that back. And you can tell that it's really helped out his ability to do better in Endurocross. I wonder, because you'll see videos of Charlie Mullins and like Caleb Russell, Josh Strang, those guys on a moto track, they look good. I don't have a clue how they would wind up doing to say like an outdoor national motocross event, but they still, you could tell that they look like they could at least hold their own in the top the top 20 to 40 somewhere. I wonder if there would be some overlapping help that would be able to get some more aggression for someone like Nick Farringer, or for guys that kind of are having trouble getting past the speed hurdle that some of these other guys can carry.
Yeah, I believe when I talked to Nick, maybe it was at the Texas round, that he has been doing a little moto here and there. But I know one of the things that's really hurt him this year is since Russell Bobbitt's been hurt, he doesn't have that training partner at home anymore.
Ah, yeah.
So when he's going out to ride, he said, like, he'll have to go out and do his motos by himself in the woods, but it's really hard to gauge your speed off of pretty much nobody. So I think when Russell comes back, it'll kind of, change things quite a bit, and hopefully he can, gauge off of some of Bobbitt's aggressiveness and pick it back up and take it to another level. But I thought one of the most impressive sections this weekend was wide open sand, kind of like an ISDE style thing, kind of reminded me of Mexico in a way. But he was only maybe 5 or 10 seconds off of Mullins in that section. And that was a section where you thought Mullins would, make up a minute.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think, maybe it's not his aggression. Maybe he just needs to make less mistakes and pick up a little here or there.
We did have someone in the chat room, Moto Fro, was saying that Mike Lafferty, a really good example of someone that would dominate in the enduros without too much cross country background. But I might agree completely. But throughout the past couple years, we've definitely seen Mike Lafferty's dominance start to wane. Now, is that an age thing? Is he just coming to the end of his career and it's kind of he only has so much left in the tank, or is it a chance that we've started to see more guys like Charlie Mullins, and when he came through from 2010 and won the series on his Obermeyer Yamaha, and we started to see that kind of cross-pollination of more GNCC riders come in, have some of the more specific enduro guys really been kind of losing control. Russell Bobbitt won it in there, right after Mullins, right? 2011? And then it was Baylor, and then it was Mullins?
Yeah.
So there's been a little bit of dominance from more GNCC specific guys as of late. So it'll be something to keep watching, because I think if we keep seeing that dominance from these racers that are a little bit more cross country specific, it'll be interesting to see how someone that might have more of a national enduro or more of an enduro background, more of a single track kind of focus, how they can learn to adapt to that speed that these guys who are out there doing 3-hour races as fast as they can go through all this different terrain, to be able to beat them in these shorter sprints. 6 short-ish sprints. How do we want to say that?
I think it's more like a coincidence that some of these guys in the past couple of years winning the championships are, GNCC background. I think for them growing up, what's available to most of us, like less than 16, is hare scrambles. So if you want to be a top, rider and get on a factory team, you're going to go to the GNCCs as a youth hare scramble rider. And then from there, working your way up, you're certainly going to make more money usually in GNCCs and National Enduros. And then kind of when you have the chance to do both of them and get into the National Enduros, I guess eventually, that cross-country background is going to follow you. But certainly these kids that are now, like with the National Enduro, you can be 13 and race them. It's breeding this new kind of more enduro-style rider, and they're going up to the National Enduro Series and not necessarily going through the GNCC and then crossing over.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that a lot of guys under 16 were racing a lot of hare scrambles. I grew up racing enduros. I didn't even know they were hare scrambles back in Louisiana, but I didn't ever race them. We had series, but they weren't ever that good. We would have had to travel too much, so we just raced the Sarah Enduro circuit. And I don't think I raced a hare scramble until I was somewhere in my teens, and then I didn't really start racing them until I was in Texas, like 2006, 2007. Yeah. And now I go back and forth between. I really enjoy them. They're fun. Speaking of going back and forth and enjoying them, you see this? You know what that is? That's my first place trophy from this past weekend. I won that. racing dirt bikes. It's for the 30 plus A class. I think it's like 30 through 38. 30 through 38 is the age bracket, so vet A. But it was so much fun. So it was a local TCCRA race there in Bridgeport, Texas. I went out Sunday morning, spent the night at my parents' house in Crossroads. Woke up at 5 something in the morning, went out there, did one practice lap, came back, had some water, got ready to race, raced at 9 a.m. Didn't get the whole shot. Looked like Michael Ashley got that. Got around him, though, into the second turn and led the whole thing. It was the strangest experience ever because that's never happened before. Ever. And I think my first lap, I was 20 seconds faster than the guy who got second. But on the last lap, his last lap was 10 seconds faster than my last lap. So he was obviously gaining, and I was losing momentum. I was losing steam. And I think our average lap times throughout the 5-lap race was like was actually even. So we wound up, even though I had so many more faster laps than he did, it was like the last two where he really started to pick away at my time and catch up to me that they started to really equal out. So it's kind of funny. I don't know. When was the last race that you won, Zach?
That would be the Tennessee National Enduro. Since then, I'm getting crushed in our local series since I went to AA. So last year I was used to winning all the A-class, races. I think I won 13 out of the 17 rounds, something like that. And now this year I'm getting used to 9th through 13th. So it changes the perspective, and in a way I'm starting to kind of understand where these National Enduro guys are that are in like the 6 to 13 range. They've all come from this background of winning races, winning the local series, and then they come to the Nationals, and all of a sudden you're not the top dog anymore, and you're trying to figure out how to pick it up or what you need to do to, get there. And I think a lot of the times with these guys is they get discouraged and they kind of fall off and they never hear from them again.
Yeah. Well, really quick, we're going to change gears just a little bit and talk about one of our good sponsors, Fly Racing. And then after this, we're definitely going to debut the video, and we're going to call in Nick Davis so we can move along a little bit. We're going to get back into the Enduro talk, and I think this is a good time to kind of bring in Nick because he can give us some more input on some of the National Enduros and obviously some of the stuff that's been going on with him. So Fly Racing, for those of you guys who don't know, huge supporter of the off-road scene. You see them out at all of the big off-road events. Obviously, they're really huge as well in motocross and supercross, supporting guys like Andrew Short, Trey Kennard. You see them with Chris Bach with the JCR team. They're huge supporters of Seat Time as well. Woohoo! Look at that. Oh, yeah, we even made them a nice little sign because they're such big supporters. See it? Big supporters, we make little signs. So, but you can find out more about them at flyracing.com. What I wanted to talk to you about tonight is some of the gear because it's summer, it's getting hot. It was a little warm by the end of the race this past weekend in Texas, but I was feeling great because I had my new kinetic mesh gear on. So for you guys who don't know, Fly Racing does make the best mesh gear out there. Lots of different types of panels with different types of mesh. So things on the outside or on the inside that has a better chance of being caught by bushes or shrubs or things like that. Off-road, obviously, it's going to be a little bit tighter, a little bit thicker, so it can handle that kind of stuff, where in places where it's not going to be hit as easily, it's going to be more opened up, so it breathes even better. Same kind of thing in the pants. It's nice and thin and vented, so your junk breathes really well. Or maybe your lady junk. I don't know. It doesn't have to be man junk. It could breathe well either way. But it's good. It keeps you breathing nice. Your body cool, so all the sweat can perspire and get taken off your body by all the moist, wicking awesomeness that's in the gear. That's the way it's supposed to work. It's cool. I like Fly Racing. No, they're a huge supporter of us, so we would like it if you would just go to their site, flyracing.com. You can look at gear and the packages that they have and the top stuff because it's almost summer. It's going to be the kinetic mesh. And Jimmy Albertson wears it, so duh. Why wouldn't you? And, if Ronnie Mack was allowed to wear gear because overalls are pretty much like what his family states has to be worn, I'm pretty sure he'd have some Fly Racing gear on too. So, snap. So, big thanks to those guys for helping and supporting Seat Time. If you were wondering where we were at when we went to Big Buck. You saw the pictures we were doing. Well, we were doing the KR4 Arrive and Ride program. While we were there, we were filming. We wanted to put together a little experience video, if you will, and we have titled it Woody and Steven's Arrive and Ride Adventure. And we're going to debut it for you now. So hopefully for the next 8 minutes and 7 seconds, you thoroughly enjoy yourself.
Welcome to Big Buck. Took 2014. Wish y'all the best of luck.
We just got done with dinner with the KR4 crew, and now it's time to socialize.
It was awesome. Thanks, Stu. You rock.
Friday night was really cool because they had a fun dinner set up. You know, the guys like Stu Baylor and his boys, Grant and Stu, came over. We had a couple other riders come out there, big crawfish boil, all that fun stuff. It was really awesome to be able to hang out just in that family atmosphere, and it was fantastic. They were super hospitable. Being at the track like that was great. I won't lie, we probably had a little bit too much moonshine and maybe a few too many adult beverages Friday night, but we woke up Saturday raring to go. When in South Carolina, drink moonshine. At least that's what I'm told. So here you go. So we got Steven all ready to go there on Saturday. He had a fantastic time. I know the footage that he had was freaking amazing. You could see his ear-to-ear grin from where I was out taking pictures and shooting video and stuff like that. It was really neat to see, and I'm glad he got to experience that.
Okay, Steven, I have to tell you, I hope you wore your big girl panties, because Pat is a maniac driver.
Hey, sorry about that.
That drag from the dead start, leaves my goggles laying on the damn floor. So I'm just getting pelted and blasted with sand and rocks and all kinds of crap. So I was like trying to pick them up with my feet. So by the time I got them on, we were like 3 corners into it. The green flag dropped, man. We got the thing started. A little bit of a rough start, but Steven was fumbling around for his goggles and everything else, but it was clear sailing, and we caught the tail end of the second row before the first lap was over, and just kind of kept it rolling. Yeah, Steven pointed out some good lines. It was a big issue right out of the gate. First lap, not knowing where to go. Dust was a big factor because we had the dust from the 10 buggies ahead of us. Since we had nobody around us, we had no one to follow, and so Steven and I mean, we were trying to. He was pointing, hollering. I was kind of trying to point the buggy in the right direction, holler, find me lines, and we got it through. There's no explaining how intense and fast and crazy the whole race and experience is. Get out there and do it any way you can. The KR4 Arrive and Ride program. Go do it. It's a blast.
Really nervous. I didn't know how the start was going to go. I'm decent at starts. I've gotten a few hole shots in my past, but I've never really said I'm a hole shot guy. And I felt like I was doing awesome. Going to the woods was absolutely amazing. Bike rode great, especially for having never really even really had a chance to test it, because there is no riding at a GNCC. There's no pre-riding, there's no pit riding, there's no place to test. You pretty much have to show up ready to go. And that's where the KR4 Arrive and Ride program is so fantastic, is that bike was red T2 race. Unfortunately, not really taking the time to properly set up the cockpit was definitely a downfall. After that first lap, I had to shoot into the pits, and I asked him to move the clutch lever down because my forearm was just blowing up. It was just too high for my liking. I'm gonna tell you right now, this shit's harder than it looks. And when your hands hurt like a motherfucker, it's hard. Well, I hate to say it, I really wanted to finish. I unfortunately nursed the crap out of that third lap. I just said, you know what? Started making a couple little mistakes that could get dangerous, and I'm like, I had a great time. It's been a fun experience doing this KR4 Arrive and Ride. Am I going to do it again? Absolutely. Should you? Damn straight. After that, we kind of took a picture when we saw the podium, and we shot to the airport. As unfortunately, because it was in Charlotte where our flight got canceled or delayed, it didn't even come into Charlotte until like midnight. The bar closed at 10:30, so we definitely stayed there for a little while and had a few too many Crown and Cokes. So we got home about 3:30 a.m. Monday morning, and we had left the house at 3:30 a.m. Friday morning. It was exactly 72 hours of Woody and Steven's Arrive and Ride adventure. It's a program I highly suggest that you check out. They're really cool people, and I'm super glad that we had the opportunity to kick ass with those dudes. So, hopefully you guys thoroughly enjoyed that. We will be pushing that live and putting out an email and posting it on the internet and all that kinds of fun stuff. But we thought, hey, this is a cool platform. It would be fun to just kind of debut it here on the show. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Unfortunately, Nick and Zach didn't have a chance to see it at all because they're doing the show, and you don't want to eat up your bandwidth for doing this awesome show by watching this other video. So they'll get to watch it afterwards, and yeah, so hopefully we can get some cool feedback for you guys. Like I said, we're going to be posting it later. Big thanks to KR4 for allowing us to partake in that awesome adventure, and definitely looking forward to do it again here in the near future. I need to make sure I finish a GNCC. Now that I finally raced one, now I need to go actually finish one, opposed to being a bum and having mangina hands. So there's always that. So luckily enough, we're joined by Nick Davis now. He's changed. He's got his strapping KR4 shirt on. So obviously there's a little bit of that change of guard that we're going to talk about. But just to bring it in, Nick, man, how's your evening going?
Good, man. Good. Got home from work and did some bike prep and some maintenance and did a little bit of riding, and about it. Just got out of the shower and talking to you guys.
Well, you definitely look extremely clean, don't you think, Zach?
Yeah.
Shiny. It's like glistening. That's
Well,
the
thanks.
word. Glistening.
Thanks, bud. Thanks.
We like to make sure that we take care of our guests. So, going in from or getting rid, coming out of the 2013, coming into 2014, you were kind of changing things up from Far Husqvarna to the Opmar Suzuki team. Kind of talk about how that transition happened and a lot of the stuff that went on there that kind of brought you into, how your 2014 looked like it was going to be working out.
Yeah, well, at the end of 2013, the whole deal with KTM got bought out by Husqvarna and that whole thing, and they wanted to do their own kind of pro deal. So, Fred Andrews didn't really know what was going on or anything. So at the end of the year, I basically had nothing, to be honest with you. And I was just planning on going to work like every other guy and racing local races and having fun, And actually, my buddy Andrew DeLong, my old teammate, he helped me out and got me hooked up with Keith Overmeyer, and the whole Suzuki deal kind of came about through that. Got talking to him, and at the beginning of the year, we were looking forward to the XC1 class for GNCCs and Pro and National Enduros, on the Suzuki.
Okay, and then obviously you kind of had a lot of trouble on the bike and things like that. Kind of take us through maybe some of the races that you had when you were on the bike at the GNCCs, some of the different problems that you were coming up with, and kind of how you guys as a team handled them.
Yeah, we just had a lot of silly stuff happen, I guess. I melted the pickup on the stators, melted them twice, and had some wiring harness problems, and I dropped a valve in North Carolina, a lot of just silly stuff, I guess you could say. We basically handled it as they kind of gave me the parts, and I had a guy working on it that I had confidence in as a mechanic, and then it got to the point where I was like, well, you guys work on it and see what you can figure out, because as far as the electrical stuff, I didn't have the computer system to work on the bike in that way. So they started working on it, and then we still had some issues, and unfortunately it just wasn't working out. I wasn't feeling comfortable on the bike, and the whole thing just wasn't working out. So unfortunately we just had to kind of go our separate ways, and I wish them the best of luck, and like I said, as far as them as people, they're good people. It just wasn't working out with us,
Yeah. What was I've never been in that situation. One, I'm not fast enough to have ever had anybody offer me, a ride or of any of that sort. And so obviously at that point, never have had to, part ways with anybody that has offered that to me. When did it kind of come into your head that, this might be an option to, remove yourself from the situation?
Well, it really just, I don't know, to be honest with you. It was kind of a hard situation. I guess, it wasn't good on my part in a way, because I shouldn't, it's not right to quit, it's not really quitting, but you sign a contract with somebody at the beginning of the year and then not uphold it,
Right.
So I take full responsibility for that. I did leave. It got to the point where I was just like, guys, I can't afford to get to the races, because I'm not finishing races, so I'm not making any money. You know what I mean? I can't afford to get to the races. The bikes are breaking down. I'm getting frustrated. They're getting frustrated. Everybody was just grumpy, and we were just kind of in a bad place.
Right.
So after South Carolina, it kind of come to me as I was really frustrated after breaking down there, because I was running up front, and I was like, we need to do something. So they took my bikes and they worked on them all week and everything else. And they told me that it was going to be guaranteed to finish and everything was going to be good. And we went to the Limestone 100 there in Indiana for the GNCC. And I made 7 miles, and the wiring harness shorted out on me. And I guess I was just pretty upset. And I just come back and I said, Keith was there. And I just was like, I don't mean to be mean or anything, but I just got to part my ways. Nothing that they did wrong. They supplied me with everything that I needed. I just couldn't. It just wasn't working out, like I said, for me. So
right.
That's basically when it happened.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any fault there, really. I mean, like you said, everybody kind of has to make their own decision. And sure, it left them in a hard spot, but they, from what it sounds like, they've rebounded quickly. pulling in Zach Ingram, and I know Zach was able to talk with him a little bit, so we'll be able to talk a little bit about that, how that's kind of progressed. But from that point forward, once you kind of made that decision, you know, and you and Keith had that talk, what were your expectations? Was it literally just like, you know what, I'm just going to go buy a bike so I can finish these races and try to make some money back?
Yeah, basically that was it. I mean, I had that talk with Keith, and I gave him the bikes back, and I told him, I said, you know, I'm not looking to make any money off this. I don't want to screw anybody over. I gave him everything back. I mean, even to my goggles, my helmets, my everything, my riding gear, everything that I had, I gave back to him. And, you know, because I didn't want to get a bad name, and I called them my sponsors, and I was like, listen, I really want to uphold all the contracts. It would just be on a different motorcycle, you know? Yeah. So basically the ride home from Indiana, that's all I did was talk on the phone and try to get all of it lined up. And then, you know, unfortunately, a lot of them, you know, kind of went with Keith, which I understand, you know what I'm saying? Because he, you know, it like I said, it no matter what, it kind of looks bad on my part because I did leave, you know what I mean? And I did sign a contract. But anyways, I just was like, well, I'm going to go buy a motorcycle and pretty much do it a full privateer ride. And if I have money to get to the races, I'll go. And if I don't, I don't, you know? So I went to a local dealer of mine and bought a KTM 252 stroke and been riding it ever since.
Nice.
I guess if I could jump in, I guess one of the things I was wondering, Nick, was do you think that first GNCC is where like all the problems stem from? I know like Tanner Thomas went to that race and took his race bike, and then when he came to Texas, they were fighting all kinds of like issues from the water. I think it had ruined one of his wiring harnesses as well, and for some reason that day, like we couldn't get any jetting going on his bike, and it came back to pretty much being the wiring harness, and somehow water had gotten in it, and it was causing all kinds of issues.
Huh.
Yeah, Zach, I don't really know, man, to be honest with you. You know, I melted a stator in Florida, melted that pickup on the stator at that GNCC. But honestly, to be honest with you, I think I just had bad luck on them Suzukis. I took a brand new motorcycle to Florida to go down there to practice and get prepared for the GNCC, and I rode that bike 2 hours and the whole entire motor locked up on it. And you know, it was broken in, the whole 9 yards. Turns out to be that the head, like where the water comes in on the water ports of your jug to cool your motor down, from the factory they were like sealed shut, so melted that whole motor. So that was just bad luck from the factory, you know what I mean? So I don't really know what to say with that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and your practice bike, you had no problems with that, right?
No, practice bike was pretty much bulletproof. Just that race bike, like I said, from pretty much day one, just kind of was, I guess you'd say it was like a lemon. It was made on a Monday or a Friday afternoon or something, you know?
Yeah. Did it ever come up like with Keith where he said like, well, let's try racing the practice bike type of thing, or let's forget the other bike and try that, or not really?
Not really. We never come up with that. Like my practice bike was basically kind of like my backup bike, I guess you'd say. Like that was the one that I won the National Hare Scramble in Missouri on. So like that was my National Hare Scramble bike and my kind of enduro bike and stuff. You know, that GNCC bike was just supposed to be for GNCC.
Okay.
That's crazy. So we've moved on to the KTM. You bought a 250. I'm gonna ask, XC or SX?
XC.
Man, that'd have been balls of the walls if you'd have been like, I'm getting on an SX. I'm getting crazy out there.
Yeah, I bought the XC just because I was looking for the big tank and stuff. Because, like I said, being kind of a privateer in the beginning was pretty tough to get a bike and everything and all that extra stuff, you know?
Oh, yeah. We've got a couple guys around here that have, for a while, they were on different 250s and 300s. They would buy the XC because of the fact that they wanted all the bigger tank and stuff stock, and then they would buy the aftermarket 250 or 300, obviously, you know, comparative head, and the SXS version, so the like crazy compression, above the SX. And they said that, I think Russell Bobbitt did it, Cole Kirkpatrick, guys like that, but we had a couple different guys in Texas do that, and they said that those bikes were just phenomenal like that. And I was like, it sounds like it would scare me a lot. But
Yeah, definitely.
So how many races, or did you do any races under on this KTM kind of in the privateer fashion before you kind of got involved with the guys from KR4?
No, not really, to be honest with you. Even after, like I said, like I went with Suzuki and left Fred Andrews, we still stayed really good friends, and talked to them on the phone basically once a week, and they're great people, and I absolutely love that family. They do everything for me. They're awesome people. So, it was like, I told him the whole situation with Suzuki, and I told him I was going to buy a bike and everything, and he was like, man, let me see what I could do. I'd really like to have you back as my rider. And my little brother, Grant Davis, he rides for them in the 65 class for KR4, so he's like, it'd be awesome to have you as well, So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, man, that'd be sweet, just let me know how you make out. And heck, he called me back basically like within an hour and was like, yep, we'll do whatever we can do to help you out, and we want you to pit with us. And they helped me out with decals and pipes, and basically, I can't say enough about the whole KR4 deal and Freddie Andrews and the Keegan family, and giving me basically a place to pit, support, everything that you could ever ask for. So I can't say enough about them.
Yeah, that's cool. And if you could tell from that video, we had a blast with those dudes. It was a super, super family environment. And, for a while there, I don't know if we've mentioned this before, they were kind of like, hey, Fred and his wife are going to be staying at the hotel. You guys can ride back and forth with them. And if you just grab yourself a room at one of those hotels. And we're like, honestly, we would rather stay at the track, because we're track guys. That's what we like to do. We like to camp and hang out and drink beers and goof off and stuff. And they were kind of like, oh, okay, well, we can do, if that's what you want. And so they but it was awesome. Like, we loved the atmosphere that they had. So, I mean, I don't ever see myself being able to race a full GNCC series or ever being able to make it to all the events. But if I could do 2 to 3 a year, I would love to be able to kind of pit and hang out with the KR4 guys every time. I mean, it was a fantastic experience for us. So, if, obviously I didn't do it at the level you're going to be doing it. That's a totally different experience. But if it's anything like what I had, I think it's going to be a fantastic experience. So it could be kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. They're great. That's for sure. Like I said, they show you 100% support, and like the whole arrive and ride thing that they're doing. I think it's a great, it's a great experience for like the kids and for everything, because like perfect example, my little brother, it makes him feel like he's on a factory team. Like he has his posters and they have his gear, and they make him feel like just like he's on top of the world. And that really means a lot to little kids, like that.
For sure.
I just think the whole situation's awesome. And I love being a part of it too, because like I love the kids, that's what it's all about. And watching them come up, and, that's basically what it's all about for me.
Yeah. So, I guess if I get to come to another GNCC, I could be like your wingman. I could be like there, hanging out, helping out, giving you some motivational quotes.
Definitely, man. That'd be awesome. Come on out for sure. All the support is better, so that's sweet.
Well, you as well, kind of, you had been at all the National Enduros with the Obermeyer Suzuki guys. You did not come this weekend. You and I had talked beforehand, and you mentioned that you wanted to take a little time to get used to the new bike, and you raced. So tell us a little bit about the local event that you did and how it kind of worked out for you.
Yeah, I really wanted to go to Missouri, but I just kind of wanted to stay home and regroup and just kind of get my bike dialed in, because before Loretta Lynn's at GNCC, I literally rode my bike 3 days. So I was like, I got to kind of get it set up. I was stock suspension and everything else. So yeah, I was like, this weekend I'm going to go to a local race and just have some fun and see some fans that I haven't seen all year, and went up there, and bike worked awesome, ripped an awesome hole shot and got out front, and basically just pushed for the whole 2 hours. It was pretty muddy because we got a bunch of rain, but had a blast and ended up coming away with the win, and put a little bit of money in my pocket, and yeah, it was awesome. It was a great time.
Man, that sounds a lot like the win that I got this weekend.
Nice. That was awesome.
I got the whole shot and won the whole and led the whole race too. But of course, I was not in the pro class. I was in the 30A class, and the guy who had been winning the last 4, Scott Bailey, was on a CRF 150. So,
Oh, nice.
So it was, if I had got beaten by him, it would have sucked. But I was very happy I'm gonna talk about it more. I just want everybody to realize this. Yeah. But so Zach, now it seems that I have been on the KR4 experience. Nick has taken part in the KR4 experience. When are you gonna go do a GNCC and take part in the KR4 experience?
I don't know. I mean, as soon as possible. I've been searching out some different dates lately, and I was hoping to make it to Ohio, and then for some reason something else came up. So it looks like I'm planning on being at Snowshoe. That'd be the next possible date. And I've heard it's a great race and it's kind of technical, which is the type of terrain we have up here in the ECA. So yeah, I'll have to talk to him. I think Frank had asked me if I was going to the, I guess, Georgia Enduro Cross, which is another race I'm looking at going to. But yeah, I love the family environment. Like that's one of the main reasons I always did Hare Scramble, is because of that. You feel like you're a part of a bigger family, and I think that's what KR4 has really embraced that concept and brought it into that professional atmosphere of the GNCCs.
Yeah, I'm about to make a comment, and I don't want it to make it sound like it's a jaded, don't like the Dirtwise, ready to race program, because I haven't done it. So that's the way, that the only difference is that I see, like, right now is that it seems that they're still kind of a fledgling program coming up. It's a great idea, and I'm hoping that Shane Watts runs with it and gets the chance to do what the KR4 guys have, because you'll have options. I think the Shane Watts program will be run different than what the guys from KR4 is doing. Different in a bad way? Absolutely not. I don't think so. I think with that kind of option, because there's different people for all these different experiences, and so being able to be like, you know what, I think I want to go with the Shane Watts type of deal, or I like this family atmosphere. I want to have my kid race in one class, and I want to race another one. Like, they're gonna have the kind of KR4 deal. And that's the one thing I'm looking forward to learning from you, Nick, is how they handle bikes at a professional level. How the XC2 bike are you going to be in the XC2 class?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, 'cause that's what I thought you raced this last time. That's what I want to know, is how well your bike is prepared and things like that. Like, obviously they're doing a really good job with the kids, but at that professional level, it's like, are you going to wind up with having some of the same problems with the Suzuki? Is it just a shitty bad luck year for Nick Davis, or is this what's going to turn it around?
Yeah, I think it'll turn it around for sure. Like I said, we're on a good program now and a good bike, and I look forward to good things. I came out in Loretta's, like I said, 3 days on the motorcycle, and was running up front, battling for the lead with Grant Baylor pretty much all day. And unfortunately, I did lose my rear brakes and kind of had a malfunction with them. But honestly, that wasn't KR4's fault or the bike's fault. That was my fault, because it just wasn't enough time on the bike, and I didn't have my rear brake pedal adjusted the way I needed it, so I was dragging my brakes, and I just burned the fluid up. So for the next one, I got my pedal adjusted different and got a solid brake rotor on the rear, and we won't have that problem again, so we should be good for West Virginia this weekend.
Right. Man. Well, did you get a chance to look at some of the results from the National Enduro that happened this past weekend, or maybe some of the fun articles that Zach's written on Innovation Off-Road?
I haven't even had a chance yet, to be honest with you. It's been so crazy busy this week, I haven't had 2 seconds, but...
Man. Well, Zach.
Yeah.
Break down for him. You had some good points that we talked about with Charlie Mullins. I like what you said about with Craig DeLong. Obviously, those two dudes are doing really great for their respective classes. Zach Ingram is on the bike, 13th overall on the Suzuki. The Obermeyer Suzuki did really good. I think for him especially, having been on the bike for 2 days. You had a couple other points, though, in that recent article that you put out that might get Nick thinking about some other things that he's having been a racer at some of the earlier events.
I don't know what specific points you're talking about, but I mean, going back to like Ingram, I think he said he got the bikes Thursday night. He tested in Missouri on Friday and Saturday. I thought it was pretty interesting. I caught up with him Sunday, and he thought the suspension was like too soft for him. And I think it was the stuff you were running, Nick. And I don't know like where you guys compare weight wise, but I kind of mentioned like, hey, how about you change this? And they were they treat it as a test day, but not in a test day that they would change things. They just wanted to keep the bike where you had it and just run it like that. And from what I kind of said to him, I was like, don't be afraid to change anything. I think that's what Drew Smith has, told both Nick and I in years past, who does our own suspension. And, he says, don't be afraid to change anything. If it's not working, change it, and it can't get any worse. If it's already not feeling good, you can only get better. But I'm trying to think of the other points you're alluding to, other than I know Lafferty had an off day with getting knocked out, and then Corey Buttrick.
Corey Buttrick did a little bit better too. He said that they made a couple changes to his settings.
Yeah, his dad kind of admitted to me that they tried to squeak a little too much horsepower out of the bike by.
Yeah, I have that problem too.
Well, and Corey will tell you outright, like with his weight right now, they're really trying to make the bike as powerful as they can. And throughout the season, he seems to be getting like a little more muscular and thinner as the year goes on. But they really need that horsepower to carry him through these different races. And he even said that he's really trying to wring the bike out while, I guess he was following Lafferty at one point. He's like, Lafferty doesn't even look like he's pushing hard, but yet on his 300, he's having to push as hard as it can go.
Right.
But he had a great ride.
How heavy is he? He doesn't look like he's big. Like.
No, he's not where he used to be, but I would say he's 200, 220 maybe. I don't know offhand.
Good Lord.
Yeah, but if you think about it, he was like on the couch for almost a year, and I mean,
yeah.
I know if that happened to me, what I would probably look like. I mean, you can only imagine, but he says he's riding like every day and doing local enduros and hare scrambles, and he's picking it back up. He just says he's having a hard time not thinking about things when he's riding. He was kind of almost scared and cautious, starting out, and now it's getting to the point where he doesn't think and he's just pushing and pushing. And that fourth test, he was fourth overall, which kind of shows where his progression is going.
Yeah, that the chat room is about to call Corey Buttrick and tell him that you're calling him fat.
No, I didn't.
We're going to tell him, Corey, that you called him heavy? Does that sound better?
I mean, you brought it up. But,
it's okay. It's okay.
He openly says that they're trying to, squeak. They need the bike to be powerful, and I know they were worried this weekend about the jetting being too lean, so they richened it back up, and I mean, he's hauling.
Hauling the mail? Yeah, those guys are going fast. It's pretty cool to see. So, Nick, moving forward, KR4 program, what are goals, things that you're really trying to come away with this coming weekend as a success, that you're like, we're really making progress? And don't just tell me finish.
Yeah, no, it's not just finish. I'm really confident in my bike and in my program right now. To be really honest with you, I want to be on that podium. Like, I want to be, after last weekend at Loretta Lynn's, battling with Grant Baylor for the lead and up front like that, it pretty much, I don't know how to explain it, but I guess it really lit a fire under my butt to just want to win, because it gave me a huge drive. Like, the last 2 weeks, I've done nothing but pretty much having in my head that I'm going to win West Virginia. Like, I just want to be up front and battling for that win. And just honestly, not to sound arrogant or like a prick or anything, because I want to get along with everybody, but I just want to win just to prove to everybody, you know what, Nick Davis is here, and it wasn't him, it was bike issues, and, just to prove to sponsors that, maybe they would want to still help me out. You know what I'm saying? Because I can be an up front runner, and and I wasn't being a dick. I was just trying to better my career, you know?
Yeah. I understand that for sure. Zach, what do you think we should expect this weekend from
What,
Mr.
from
Nick
Nick?
Davis? Yeah. What are your thoughts on this? You know Nick. You've grown up together. You
Yeah.
know the animal within. So tell us about this man.
I mean, back when I raced youth, I think Nick was like 11 or 12, and that was probably one of like the best years he had. He was like winning. He's winning from the 10, 11, 85 class, and he was up in like the top 5 overall in youth. So I know he definitely has the ability in him. It's just I know at that level, any little mistake kind of just like adds up, and you know he definitely has it in him. That's up to him. I don't want to put any pressure.
Too late.
Come
'Cause-
on, Zach. Just say that you gotta win. Just say it.
You gotta win.
It's
All
gotta
right.
happen. Well, he just called Corey Buttrick fat. So, I mean,
Oh, come
if you
on.
don't win, I mean, you're just think what he's going to say about you next week. He's going to be like, I got to come on the show. I got something to say about Nick.
No, that's not what I'm saying about Nick at all. I mean, about Corey.
Or any of them, really. Man, I hate to
No.
see what you say about me behind my back.
Oh, come on.
Well, all right, here's a good one. Nick, since you grew up with Zach, right? Is there
Yeah.
any good stories or anything fun that we could tell the viewers about the owner and proprietor of the innovationoffroad.com NAA class?
Nah, man, he's just super nice kid. That's basically sums it up. Just a good guy and wants to, just have fun and ride motorcycles and just like all in all, just a good guy. That's
Dig it.
about that. That sums up Zach.
I like it. I like it. Well, I definitely want to say that we do have other big supporters of the show, and I gotta take a minute to thank another one of those guys right now. So Stillwell Performance, we've been talking about riding dirt bikes, racing dirt bikes, all the stuff that goes along with that. One of those things that you have to pay attention to when you're doing all this stuff is your suspension. I had never had my suspension done before by anyone, like, sending it off and all that kinds of stuff. And having doing the show, we got a chance to talk with some Stillwell guys. And then Alan Stillwell came on the show, and he was like, well, hey, let's do this. I was like, okay, cool. So he did my suspension, sent it off, and I could tell you, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like, it was super cool. For the whole process that we went through with filling out the rider form, doing the little rider interview, sending out the suspension, them dialing everything in, me getting it back, and them kind of giving me notes to help me put it on. And then while I'm at the track, I can text him, and he would give me advice on how to kind of mess with, kind of tweak things a little bit, and how not to tweak things, when not to mess with it, and when to try other things besides it just being a suspension problem. So super cool process to go through. I definitely would recommend anybody to go check out stillwellperformance.com. Shoot them an email, tell them that you heard about them on the show, and yes, you will get a discount. We don't have a discount code yet for their site, but what you can do is call them and tell them, ooh, I'd like to order the adjustable linkage guard that you guys sell on your site. I heard about you on Seat Time. Isn't there a discount code? Yes, there is, and they will give it to you, and you will save some money off of Offering products. I definitely recommend that if you are on a KTM. They do have them for other bikes, but I especially recommend them for a KTM because of that weird angle that thing is at, man. Holy crap, that the linkage. It will catch on stuff, and it will pitch you over the handlebars, and it super sucks. With that linkage guard, it doesn't happen, and it's adjustable, so you can actually change your head angle a little bit with it without messing up the actual geometry of the suspension and all the settings and stuff like that. So it's cool. Check them out, stillwellperformance.com. Thank them for their support. All right, so let me get into the notes and talk about some other stuff that's coming up. So we do have the Mountaineer Run this weekend. Mr. Nick Davis, you are a past GNCC competitor. Tell us some of the things that we should expect for what's coming up at this event.
Rocks. Definitely
Rocks.
expect rocks.
Sexy.
Yeah, West Virginia's got some awesome rocks. Actually, I really personally like this track a lot. It's got awesome flowing grass track and rocks, like up and down hills, tree rooty, rocky, a lot of fun. The first year they had it, like it was kind of muddy, and then the last year wasn't too bad, so we've been there when it's dry and we've been there when it's muddy. So all in all, kind of depends on the weather, I guess, but for me, I love it. But it's kind of like I'm from Northeast Pennsylvania, so it's like what I ride at home, Other people down south, I guess, they might hate it, if they're not used to the rocks or whatever.
I like rocks. I don't know why. It's not like I grew up around rocks or anything like that. For some reason, I think it's. You were talking earlier, Zach, about like the technical aspect of snowshoe. That the terrain would kind of seem like what you guys ride a lot, and you would be decent at that. It's what you ride a lot. I don't ride that a lot, but for some reason, I really enjoy that kind of terrain. I think it's because it makes you think. It's not just about how fast you can go in an open section and carry the speed through the turns. There's a little bit more to it than that. So that would be fun.
Yeah, it's really fun, and the track just flows good. So it's exciting. I'm super excited. I can't even wait. So.
Zach, were you gonna butt in there for a second?
No, I mean, that's definitely one of the ones I'd love to get out to, and I think it was it Rory Mead that won that the one year? I just remember just how technical it was, and he was able to stand up on that two-stroke all day and just get through all the technical rocky uphills. And I believe that was one that Caleb Russell had. I remember seeing some big crashes. I believe it was from that one, just from the routes that just throw you off in the middle of the woods here and there. But yeah, definitely.
Man, so the XC2 class now, Nick, you're moving forward, KR4. What other kind of stuff should we look forward for the year? Are you going to be doing the National Enduros as well?
Yeah, I'm going to try to do as many as I can. Like I said, KR4 is helping me out huge, but it's still kind of like, I still got to go to work during the week. Let's just put it that way. Like, I'm not making a fortune off of it, so
yeah.
I'm going to try to do as many as I can. And just basically, honestly, right now, I'm kind of taking it race to race. That's my biggest thing. I just want to win races and get up there battling in the front and just see what happens, take it from there. But I definitely would like to, go to some National Enduros and GNCCs, doing both, because, the Enduros are fun and it's something different. And I think it teaches you a lot, for reading trail and passing lappers and just, getting through fast. So definitely look forward to doing some of them for sure.
Very cool. What about X Games in Atlanta? Or not X Games, Endurocross. I've been drinking.
Yeah. Yeah, Endurocross is something that I would really love to pursue someday, but I don't know. There's really no talk of it right now, but I would definitely love to do it. I'm definitely going to the Tennessee Knockout, that's for sure. I got invited this year to do it, so I will definitely be there. I did it last year, and I learned a lot from it and qualified, but I think I placed like 9th last year or something. So this year I'm looking forward to a lot better of a year, because last year, like I said, just the first year there, got my feet wet and learned a lot. And this year, can't wait to get back, because that technical stuff like that is so much fun. It's a blast.
Yeah, that's cool. We're going to have a huge Texas contingency at TKO this year. We've got, I'd say at least 10. It could be closer to upwards of 15 guys driving from Texas. So, and I think that's actually just racers. I think we may have more people going, but like we're actually going to have somewhere between 10 to 15 racers going. I'm on row 7 in the amateur program. If you got invited, then that means you don't have to do any of the Saturday racing, right? That's just, you guys go straight to the Sunday racing?
Yep. Yeah, I got invited in there. So Saturday, I'm just there walking the track and walking like the sections and watching you guys, and then Sunday's our day.
Oh man, you're gonna be laughing your ass off when you see that C-Time KTM 300 come off of row 7. It's gonna be a spectacle for sure. Oh my gosh.
Nah, everybody crashes, and it's really like, it's technical. So pretty much even the top guys, we all crash. Last year in the Endurocross part, I crashed right in the middle of everybody, and everybody was laughing, and it's just like, what are you gonna do? You just get up and keep going.
Yep. No, it'll be a good time for sure. Well, cool. Well, Zach and I are going to kind of close things up here on the show as we kind of close things up for the evening. But I just really wanted to say thank you very much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. It sure has been an interesting year. It's disheartening for some, making some changes, and now looking forward to the changes that you have made and the positive things that come from it. So we really appreciate you being on the show, and good luck this weekend for sure. Yeah,
definitely, man. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it, and look forward to maybe getting on here again and doing some more stuff with you guys. And, thanks, Zach. Thanks, Brian, for everything. And, yeah, like I said, I just can't give it up enough to KR4 and all that they're doing for me and the Andrews family and stuff. And look forward to having a great year and hopefully talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. And don't forget to tell everybody to watch Seat Time because, we could use the help.
Definitely, I will for sure. I'll freaking tell everybody. So thanks a lot, guys. I
Absolutely,
appreciate it.
man. You have a good night. We'll talk soon.
All right, sounds good, buddy. See ya.
Later.
See you,
All
mate.
right. So, Zach, tell us what's coming up for you in Innovation Off-Road. What should we be looking for on the website and being posted to some social bits out there in the world?
Let's see. I've got a couple articles coming up on Mike Lafferty's bike and Casey Martinez's bike, which I did Saturday in Missouri. So I spent probably a third of the day with their mechanic, which they share. And then this weekend we have a rock enduro for the ECA, and then the following weekend we travel to Virginia for the Virginia National Enduro. So that's about the next 2 weeks of plans and all kinds of things, mixed in there, trying to do some specialized, local content around here and a couple different, executing some ideas with a couple different shops that are local.
Yeah. Well, it sounded like you said you got some new business this past weekend at the National Enduro. Is that anything that we can talk about?
Which one?
I don't know. You didn't tell me anything specific. You know me, I'm just asking about stuff I probably shouldn't know about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just...
You can say no. You can say no.
I don't want to say no, but just, supplying some photos here and there for a couple different companies. So it's on the up, I guess, there. But, yeah, just trying to constantly increase, our presence and trying to, get more work so I can make this a full-time gig.
Dig it. Yeah, you just graduated too, right?
Yeah. I'm
Man,
finally,
look at you. Just coming a man underneath our wings.
yeah, I'm a Penn State alum now, which is kind of hard to imagine, but I mean, all weekend I kept on seeing Penn State, alumni or students, even on the plane, and you can't say that you go there anymore. You say that, you went there or you were alum, so it's, another phase in your life, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm an alum of a lot of things. Some of those things I can talk about on the internet publicly, and some of them I cannot. The good stuff was definitely high schools and colleges, but it's interesting how now that I'm, 12 years past graduating college, that I use 10% of what I learned in those 5 years. 4.5 years. 4.5 years. No, it was 5. It was 5. Damn it. But it was fun. It was interesting. It was a cool experience. I mean, I met a lot of people and tried to do a lot of people that I never would have had the opportunity if I hadn't gone to college. So it was fun. But what's coming up for us? So hopefully, I'm getting neutered on Friday, so that'll be fun. A nice little vasectomy. So next Tuesday, we're gonna have a hell of a seat time to talk about of the balls getting clipped. So that'll be interesting. And then I might try to make another TCCRA race in 2 weeks. It just depends on how I heal up from the ball situation. And then again, it worked out really well where I could leave early Sunday morning, get one lap of practice in, and race the first race, and then come home. So Tam, even though she was only alone for about half a day with all 3 kids. So if the TCCRA in 2 weeks is the long program is like the last in the day, I probably couldn't go do it because it's just too much time for her to be alone with all 3 kids. It would drive her nuts, and I don't want to do that to my wife. She's a great wife. So, but X Games is going to be fun. We're driving down to Austin as a family Thursday night. I'm going to take Kaylin to Endurocross on Friday, and I think too we're going to do like Step Up on Saturday. So that'll be a lot of fun to take her to those events and to kind of goof off and introduce her a little bit into the more extreme sports side of things. So it'll be a good time. I don't know. Zach has no comments.
No, I mean, it sounds like fun. X Games is something I'd love to get to, and for the Endurocross, trying to get there from a media perspective for that one. So Yeah, it's definitely on the list. Just gotta keep checking things off, I guess.
Well,
There's a,
if I'd have known that, I'd have put you in as my media correspondent opposed to myself, because I got media credentials, but the problem is that I didn't realize that I was going to be taking my daughter, so I'm kind of in a predicament. But we'll figure it out. We will
yeah,
figure it out.
take your daughter with you.
Somebody. Well, I can't because the media credential will get me into the media spots where I can take pictures, but she can't get in because she doesn't have a media credential, and she's 8. It's not like I could be like, wait here by the gate while Daddy goes takes pictures for an hour, because I'm a great dad. No, it's funny too because one of the Ryan is in the chat room, Ryan Kudla, and he's like, you know what? He's like, are you gonna go to the video game event too? Because X Games apparently now has a video game event this year, which I don't really know how to think about that. Like, I get it because gaming is getting bigger, so they want to be able to pull in that audience. But holy shit, really? Like, you're going to bring that audience into the X Games? Like, that's kind of retarded. Like, bring back rollerblading before you bring in fucking video gaming.
Do you think it's more for the financial side, though, of getting, say,
Oh, absolutely.
EA Sports or...
Absolutely, it's a financial decision. I mean, yeah, I mean, even if they didn't, I mean, I don't know if they got paid by somebody, like an EA, or just like, we'll give you X amount of dollars if you create, okay, cool. Like, if nothing else, it's bringing all the people that are hardcore gamers, which is a huge, huge market, into the X Games. Like, they may not have been into X Games before, but they may be going to X Games just to watch this event, but then they're going to be buying shit at X Games. They're going to be doing stuff at X Games. They're going to be putting money into COTA, which is the Circuit of the Americas where the X Games is being held. So, yeah, I mean, it's for the money. Come on. Video games and the X Games? That's for the money. Yeah, I don't know if I could ask Sal Masicata for a pass. I don't know.
I thought it'd kind of be like, I don't know, like when you go on a plane and you have like a little kid, they just count it as, part of your credential. If they would count her as, kind of tagging along with you.
Yeah. Hey, dude, if I walk in and she's on my shoulders, can I just be like, well, I mean, she's kind of like my twin.
Yeah.
Like, make it look like we're attached at the neck. I don't know. I guess it probably wouldn't work. We'll figure it out. Regardless, her and I will have a great time. Whether I'm taking pictures officially or not, we'll have fun. And I'll probably have the credential just for those moments where I can, like, get closer and be like, shut up. I'm taking a picture. Brian Pierce. I don't know. All right, well, before we close it up, I definitely want to say thank you to the guys over at Fast Company. It's Fastco. It's fastco.com. See, they should have just gone with fast.co like we did, ctime.co. But no, it's fastco.com to get confusing. For those of you guys who have not used flex bars before, you definitely need to go to their website. You need to check it out. Get in touch with those guys. They are the kings of ergonomics. So even if you're not looking to buy flex bars, but you're kind of like, I get blisters in weird spots and donuts don't help, taping doesn't help, or man, like I get weird aches, like I just can't figure this stuff out. They have done the most amount of ergonomics testing out there, so they will, if nothing else, be able to help you get set up a little bit better. And in the long run, I'm pretty sure you'll wind up buying a pair of flex bars because you're like, holy shit, these guys know what they're talking about, and I want to support them. Another tool that they have that I was completely baffled in how awesome and easy it is to use is their spoke torque wrench. And now I don't have to like ding on them anymore and play musical notes and try to tune it like I would my snare drum. To figure out if my wheel if all my spokes are tightened or not. And so that has just been amazing product. And what I like about those guys is they've literally moved to Utah from Southern California because they were like, hey, we're a company of motorcycle riders making products for motorcycle riders. Why do we live in Southern California where we can't ride? And so they moved to Southern Utah where they literally, and I've been there to their shop, you start your motorcycle in their shop and you ride out their shop and you turn out of the parking lot onto the trail. Like, there's no, like, ride down the road to the trail. There's literally right out of their, like, you take a left out of their parking lot, you're on the trail. So those are the guys, I mean, they support us, and we want to make sure that you guys support them because they are so involved in dirt biking. It is amazing. So just please go check them out at fastco.com and support the supporters of Seat Time. Well, this has been episode 121. Zach, thank you for being on. Tell us a little bit, again, where more people can find out about what you're doing at Innovation Off-Road and what you're trying to do with said website.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me on again. I mean, as I said, just graduated from Penn State and really trying to evolve this company into something bigger where eventually it's not just me, it's, some other people that are helping me out. But you can find us on Facebook at Innovation Off Road, on Instagram at Innovation Off Road, and then Twitter, because they kind of limit your name length, it's just IO_media.
IO
But yeah,
underscore media. Oh, yeah.
yeah, and it seems like everyone at the race now is like, they've just shortened it to IO, which it works for me. I think it's definitely, something down the road to think about. But yeah, I appreciate everyone having me on. And I always have a blast, talking racing, and I'm passionate about it. So it's a good Tuesday night. That's how I
Yeah.
like to
It's
spend
not
it.
the worst time. Sometimes it could be better, but at least it's not the worst time. Worst time would be
Yeah.
out there getting some weird STD from somebody that you're like, man, this isn't even worth it. That would be the worst time.
Yeah.
It got weird, and I'm okay with it. All right, so we definitely thank you guys, everyone in the chat room, and those tuning in. You've been watching Seat Time, so you can find us on our website, which is seattime.co. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/seattime. We are on Twitter, twitter.com/seattime_co. Instagram is just regular old Seat Time, one word. And YouTube, you can find us. We do have a channel there, and if you wanted to subscribe to us, then you're just automatically updated whenever we add videos or we're going live like we do with these shows. All the fun stuff that does go on there. Please subscribe on Stitcher or iTunes to the podcast so that way you can get the audio whenever they come out, typically on Wednesdays when get the shows exported and they go live, or they're on the website if you want to watch. Either way, we appreciate you doing it. Again, big thanks to Fly Racing, Stillwell Performance, and the guys over at Fast Company. Huge supporters of Seat Time, and we want you to go support them for supporting us. Can't say thanks enough. Again, I'm getting neutered on Friday, so be ready for interesting Instagram pictures, because I promise you there will be at least one of a bruise and a cut, and it may have to get pulled off of Instagram. But I've just got to do it. So I'd be like, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? Right, Zach?
Yeah.
Of course. All right. Well, everybody. Oh, one of the things that I almost forgot to mention, and I'm so sorry for this. So KR4 has a really cool program. The Arrive and Ride, we've talked about it. We think you should try it. But what was also that's neat is for the John Pinton in Ohio, the KR4 Arrive and Ride guys are kind of auctioning off a seat, a chance to ride chance to drive one of their side-by-sides for the UTV race. Oh, of course. Look at me yawning on camera. What a dick. So I'll post the link to the Seat Time page so that you guys can check it out. But definitely there's going to be an Eventbrite for it, so you can buy a ticket and they're going to auction it off. So you essentially, it's like a raffle. You buy a ticket for X amount of dollars and they're going to pick a thing out of a deal, and if it's yours, woohoo! You only spent whatever the ticket costs versus however much it would cost to rent the side-by-side for the entire event, for the entire weekend kind of deal, which I think it's not cheap, but it's the way to do it, because you're actually going to finish because your machine won't break. So we're going to be talking about we're going to post that link so you guys can go check that out. We would appreciate it if you did. Again, thanks for paying attention. Episode 128 of Seat Time. We'll see you next week. Always enjoy a pint full of awesome. Goodbye? Yes.